There has never been a black woman to serve as governor of any state in America. Could Virginia change that? We'll find out in the next couple days when state Democrats vote on the party's nominee for governor. There are 5 candidates in the race, among them former state delegate Jennifer Carroll Foy. She was one of the first women to graduate from the Virginia Military Institute and was able to flip a red district delegate seat blue during her time serving in the House of Delegates. She helped expand Medicaid to over 500,000 people in her state. Gubernatorial candidate Jennifer Carroll Foy joins me now. Hello to you. You are in the final stretch. Tell me, what is the closing argument in these final days?
The final closing argument is, and thank you for having me today, is the fact that Virginians are hungry for change. That the wealth gap has increased while poverty has exploded, and some of our schools are just as underfunded and segregated today as they were 10, 20, 30 years ago. So if we want something different, we have to do something different and vote that difference into office. And Virginians want someone who understands the challenges that they face and walked in their shoes. And I can tell you, coming from one of the poorest communities in Virginia, being one of the first women to ever graduate from Virginia Military Institute, a public defender representing Black, brown, and poor Virginians, helping them navigate a broken criminal justice system, and a state legislator who passed the Equal Rights Amendment for women's equality, diversify a teacher workforce, and help veterans open small businesses. Well, that is the change that Virginia needs and is looking for.
I'm curious, what did your experience winning the 2nd District delegate seat and flipping that red seat to blue during the Trump years teach you about what it is that Virginia voters are looking for?
I can tell you it's really simple. Virginians want someone who speaks their language, who identifies with their issues and problems, and has policy solutions to uplift all communities in Virginia and not just some. I ran my delegate race while pregnant with twins, being outspent, out-endorsed, but I knew I would never be outworked. Because when the people heard my vision for the Commonwealth, when they saw how I was going to fight, they heard what I wanted to do for them, then they voted for me. And I ended up winning my race while on bed rest, about to give birth to my twins, and then went on to have more votes than the governor, lieutenant governor, and the attorney general in my general. So we can win and win big here in the Commonwealth because Virginians want change, and they want change now.
Let's talk about some of that change, specifically policing in Virginia. A state prosecutor is now deciding whether to pursue criminal charges against 2 police officers involved in a traffic stop where a Black Army Lieutenant Carroll Nazario was pepper sprayed. On your website, you say that as governor, you would end qualified immunity for law enforcement. How else would you address the causes of police misconduct?
Thank you for that question, Alicia. So I can tell you that as the first public defender ever elected to the Virginia General Assembly, I've been fighting for criminal justice reform and police reform from the courthouse to the state. And what I know is that there has to be very transformational change. And politicians of the past have nibbled around the edges and put Band-Aids on our issues, getting us from one crisis to the next. So I'm proud to have passed legislation to ban the use of chokeholds by law enforcement officers. But as governor, I'll go bolder, and I will end qualified immunity. I will mandate civilian review boards, have sheriffs covered by them also. They will have subpoena power who can delve out consequences. And I want in there because I will address the larger issue regarding police reform and uplifting communities that's been most hurt and harmed by disinvestment, mass incarceration, and over-policing in Virginia.
In May, you introduced your Working Women and Working Families Plan, where you outlined many things you would do as governor, such as passing paid sick leave, raising the minimum wage to $15, working to close the gender pay gap. There's a lot of emphasis on pursuing those policies at the federal level. What do you see as the advantage to prioritizing them at the state level?
So I can tell you at the state level, that's where the rubber meets the road. And I tell people oftentimes that, there's a fight on the federal level, and some things that they do may never affect you. But what I do affects everyone on July 1st of every year, guaranteed. And that's why governorships, the people who are leading our states, are so important. We set the tone, tenor, and agenda for who we are as Virginians, why we fight, and who we're fighting for. So it's about time we have a working mom representing working families. We talk about infrastructure, broadband, roads, and bridges, getting people to work. But what about childcare, which is necessary to get people to work as well? Making it more accessible and more affordable for more families, having a true $15 minimum wage just tied to the index. So as inflation increases, wages increase, paid family medical leave and paid sick days. There's a reason I have more union endorsements than any other gubernatorial candidate in this race, along with Emily, Gloria Steinem, Ben Jealous, Congresswoman Lauren Underwood, and Katie Ford, because I've always been fighting for working families, and I will always stand with them. That's why they stand with me.
Former Delegate Carroll Foy, thank you for your time. Next, the vice president on the World